Of course, just so you know who we all are, Andrea and myself are with our client success team. Crystal helps us out with basically everything here. And then Hillary is part of our product team. So we're all here and happy to help. We've got, looks like David signing in. So I'm going to start to share my screen here. And let's see, here we go. All right. So you are certainly all welcome to turn on your cameras. You can also feel free to put questions in the chat at any point, and we'll be sure to get to them. We will start by kind of doing a feature review, so highlighting a newer feature that maybe not everybody knows about, and then going over a pro tip, and then we'll get into some submitted questions and then open questions. So we have recently released the ability to do offline refunds for online payments. So this is our feature review for the month. So this comes into play a lot when, or was highly requested, I guess. Hi, David. When we would have, families pay online. So maybe they've paid via credit card, but then you're going to refund them a different method. Maybe you need to send them a check. We didn't quite have the ability to do that before. You could record an online refund if you were going to refund them being via credit card, but this will now give you the ability to record those offline refunds as well. This isn't going to actually do a refund for you, because if you're refunding via cash or check, you're doing that on your own. But this will allow you to have accurate records for your refunds. So I'm going to show you the places that you can do this in the system, and then I'll actually show you how to do one. So you can access the refunds. And again, because this is a refund, this is going to be available to anybody that's an admin in your dashboard only. So it's not available to anybody that's has a team member access and not an admin access. But to do this, you can do this in 3 different areas. I'm showing you here on the payments detail page. So when you go to the payments, you'll be able to choose refund. You'll also be able to do this in the payment itself. So on the invoice page, you can go into the payment and you can choose issue online refund or record offline refund here. And then you can also do it on the invoice page itself. So let me just show you these. I'm going to exit this screen for a second and go over into an actual case. Can everybody still see my screen okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just in a case. I've just come from my main dashboard here and found the case where I need to do my refund. And then I'm going to do this one from my payments tab, and I'll show you the other places you can do it. So once I'm on my payments tab, I can see this is a paid invoice. If this customer paid by credit card, this would work the same, but you can click on the right here, and then you can choose record refund. And then you'll be able to do either a full refund or a partial refund. Same thing if you're refunding a credit card. You can also put in the reason for the refund. So maybe we needed to refund this family, we'll say, $25 because they, wanted one less death certificate. So we can go ahead and do the reason there. You can choose if you're decreasing the balance from the amount that the family owes. We'll go ahead and say yes on this, and then we'll say record refund. And now we're going to have that refund recorded. When I go into the invoice here, I should see this. Your invoice is on the top, and then any payments or associated refunds will be right below here. So we can track now that we had the payment of $15.15 and then we refunded $25. Okay. So another place that you can record refunds is right from this page. Just record refund. And then the last place that you can choose to record a refund is on your payments tab up here. When you go into the payment, so this is the case that I just did, but you'll have a record refund button here where you can also record an additional refund if you need it. So 3 different places you can access those refunds. Any questions on that? Okay, we'll go ahead and keep moving here. The next thing that we're going to go over is our pro tip for this month. So in previous AMAs, we've talked quite a bit about the ability to customize forms. But what I thought I'd show you today is a really simple way that you can use AI to do that. So for example, we're going to use an example of digital forms. So when we're sending digital forms, we have our standard kind of pre-need, imminent, and at-need templates, which can be customized, but you now have the ability to create additional templates. So for example, if you had a medical examiner release form and you wanted to have a specific email sent with that one form, maybe you need this form before anything else, it's the one and only form you need, whatever the reason may be, you can go ahead and create a custom email to send with that. So let me show you where we're going to find this first. So I'm going to go up to my admin menu where my name is and go into my settings. And then once I'm in my settings under my email templates, I'm going to choose my digital forms. And then I have this medical examiner release form here, which is a custom email that we've made. And to edit this, I'm going to choose my little drop-down menu and I'm going to hit edit. Now, what we hear a lot is that we want to customize it, but not exactly sure what to say. And so this is where I think AI can help a ton, and I use AI a ton for stuff like this, is we can take an email like this, either copy and paste it, or just start to ask AI. And I'm going to show you Gemini. Gemini is a free AI tool that would be available to anybody. It's gemini.google.com. And so what I did is I asked Gemini, I said, please write an email to a customer that is friendly and caring in tone. It needs to communicate that we need to have the medical examiner form signed before we can proceed with our arrangements. And so what this does is it gives me an email, gives me the subject line, it gives me an email, and then it gives me some optional things to change. And then you can edit and adjust from here if this is still not exactly what you want. So this one, I didn't tell the AI that there was going to be a button in the email. So I needed to clarify. So I did one more prompt and I said, can you give me another version of that, which indicates they could sign the form via the button in the email? So now it gives me an email, dear customer, we understand this is a difficult time and we want to offer our sincere condolences for the loss of your loved one. To ensure that we can proceed with the arrangement as smoothly as possible, we request that you sign the medical examiner form. And then it will give me where my button is supposed to go. And then it gives some other options. So we probably don't want, if you prefer a paper copy, that's maybe not something that we want. But this will at least generate some ideas and some language for your template to be used. And you can kind of continue to tweak this as needed. But if you did want to use some of this would be very simple to copy and paste into the email template. So I can take this here and I am not going to delete all that other stuff yet, but I'm going to go ahead and paste this in here. And I say I want to use this text. So in order to use this, I need to use the coding that's right above. So I wanted to insert the loved one's name there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll up into my field mapping keys, and I am going to find decedent first name, and I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to pop in that decedent first name there. If you want a decedent last name too, you could copy that last name field mapping and go ahead and put the last name in there too. And you could continue to do this for other areas if you wanted loved one's name. And then you would be able to get rid of the additional text that you didn't want. So we'll preview just to see what this looks like. So you can tell it did put in the name John Smith. I need to put a space in there. But within 2 or 3 minutes here, I've been able to craft an email that is custom to my needs and communicates more clearly about what the importance of this form is and why it needs to be done. So this is a way that you can certainly set yourself apart and kind of amp up those communications with families. So this is something I do suggest that especially if you've got specific forms that are really necessary and you want to communicate the importance of those forms, this is a really simple way to do that. Andrea, did you have anything to add there or anything that I would have missed?
No, that sounds great. That sounds perfect.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and save this. And then it's also available to adjust at any time. So as your forms change, this would be a good thing too if you have packets of forms. So some of our funeral homes, if they know for every direct cremation, they're going to have 3 forms to sign. You've got your release, you've got your cremation authorization, and maybe you've got one other form. Instead of sending those as 3 separate forms, we can actually combine those in a packet, and then you can explain in your custom email that you could craft here, what those separate forms are for if needed, if you need that level of explanation. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move into our submitted questions. Okay, so one of the questions is, how do I find a case if I only have an email address? So this one's a little bit tricky because we don't necessarily have the ability to search only on an email address. But what I would suggest here is if you only have an email address, that also kind of tells me that you probably don't have that decedent name. So what I would probably suggest that you do is so a case like this with an NA, that's just going to be my indicator that I don't have a whole lot of information on that case. So it's likely going to be a case like this that's going to have NA here, and perhaps even NA for your informant if you don't have a name there. So we at least know that we're looking for a case with NA here and no name over here. So my suggestion would probably be that you, if you have if you know about a date when you did the arrangement or when you sent the proposal email, is that you sort this out by date and be able to look at it that way. Is there something I'm not thinking of, Andrea, that you could think of, and how you would find that, or Hillary, if either one of you want to chime in with something, please feel free.
No, I would suggest, like you said, to kind of basically look at a general idea of the time. And then if you can, basically the best way is obviously to search is by a last name if you have it. So if that's something that may be in their email address, maybe they put Smith in their email or something that indicates their last name, you could try to search that way. But other than that, you really want to probably narrow down to the general time that you think you entered it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and the only thing I'll add there is depending on how you manage your active case list, I know we have some customers that very consistently they'll move their cases from an active state to a completed. If that's the case, you can always sort that that decedent name. Sorry, you can always sort the table there by the decedent name. So all your NAs will jump to the top if you sort it I don't know if it's technically ascending or descending. I think ascending. All the NAs will jump to the top. So if you don't have cases from 3 years ago, depending on how long you've been with us in there, that could be an efficient way. It just kind of depends on how clean you keep that list. If you have a lot of empty decedent names in cases, you could get a kind of a long list there, but they will jump to the top if you sort that way.
Yeah, and that's just by clicking on the little arrow this way is going to sort that column for you. So I just sorted it, and clicking the other way will reverse sort this, I believe, for us. So all those NAs go to the bottom then, and then, but yeah, that's a really good idea. Perfect. Okay, next question is there a way to generate a list of families served during a specific time period for follow-up care? So we don't have necessarily an automatic way for you to generate a list, but we do offer some reporting, and this would fall under our aftercare reporting. So if this is something you want set up, we can schedule a report like this to be sent to you monthly. So if you're here today and that's something that you want, feel free and put that in the chat. Otherwise, it's something that can be requested via our support team at any time that we can get set up for you. Next question was, how do I delete an invoice I made an error? So to delete an invoice, you can just go into your case, into your payments tab. Let's see, let me use the other case I had just a moment ago again, where I have an active invoice. There we go. Okay. So if you haven't applied any payments yet, you should be able to just delete the invoice by clicking on the invoice and then choosing delete. So I have a payment here, so I can't necessarily just delete it, but you can delete your payments if you need to. So like this was a cash payment, everything would have been offline. I could go ahead and delete that. So let's say I accidentally put all of this on the wrong case. So I'm going to delete my refund. I'm going to delete my payment. Now that I don't have any payments associated with my invoice, I have a delete invoice option under the invoice. So it's kind of two steps. If you have any payments, you need to clear out any payments first, and then you can delete your invoice just by simply clicking delete invoice, and then that one's going to be gone there. Okay. Next question is regards to payments as well. So how do I determine if a reminder email has been sent for an invoice that was sent once previously? So this is actually found kind of in the same area. So I just pulled up a different case with an invoice. So I'm in the same area. I've clicked on the invoice, and then any communication that's been sent it's right under this little arrow. So by default, it's going to show you that the email was opened, but by clicking on the little arrow, it will tell you when the initial email was sent and then when they were resent, really similar to the way our forms work. So if the forms have the same toggle, you can click down and see all the times that a form has been resent. So same functionality here in the invoicing. Okay. Then the other question is there a way I could get a QR code generated so that I may put that on a brochure to send to families? So this isn't something that Parting Pro does necessarily, but there are QR code generators that are free online that you can do this with, and you can point the QR code to your online arranger if that's the intention, which I'm guessing it is. So if you wanted to put that on printed material, you can create the QR code, download that and print it on your printed material. Then somebody can scan that and get into your Parting Pro store. And I've got one we can put in the chat if that's something that people are looking at. Crystal, would you mind grabbing that link and put it in the chat for me?
Yeah, sure, Ashley.
Thank you.
And I just chime in and say, because I've dealt with this before, in terms of QR code generation and using the online tools, just make sure that you might have to pay, because sometimes when you use the free options, they do expire after a certain amount of time. So if you are putting this on a printed material, just make sure that whatever QR code you generate, you make sure it's going to stay active for the period of time that you're going to be using it. Just something to keep in mind. Sometimes that does require that you might, have to pay a couple dollars or even pay a subscription fee. It just depends on the service that you're using, but just something to be aware of.
Thank you. Okay, next question was, is there a way for you all to not post on our obituary page when somebody pays? So this is in regards to a website. So we offer we do host some websites for customers, and obituary creation is part of that. So the obituary creation can be controlled by you. So the answer is yes, you can choose to have it manually created or automatically created. You'll find that within your settings here. If you do have an obituary excuse me, a website with us and we are pushing obituaries, you'll have an additional setting here, correct, Hillary? It's here in this page. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That will say obituaries, and it will allow you to decide whether you want manual creation or automatic creation of obituaries. And if you choose automatic creation of obituaries, or excuse me, manual creation of obituaries, then you would just manually go into your case details for each obituary that you want published and flip a little toggle button there when you're ready for that to be published. So yes, that is possible. And we can change those settings for you or show you how to do that in detail as well. Okay. I accidentally deleted an uploaded digital file form on a case. How do I bring it back? So there's not necessarily a magic way to bring it back. If you've uploaded it from your own computer or, you know, file that you've scanned, best case is that you can just re-upload it that way. If it's something that you no longer have access to, the best thing to do is let us know as soon as possible, because the sooner that we know about it, the more likely that we can actually bring it back. Once you know, we get past about 72 hours, the likelihood of us being able to bring it back is very slim. So best case scenario is, one, if you have access to it, re-upload it. If you don't, let us know immediately and we can try our best to get it back for you. Okay, it looks like we've got another website question. So could you add multiple location links on my page for the various areas we serve? I've heard it could be beneficial, but I'm not sure if it's allowed. So yes, we can add additional pages for locations if that's something that you'd like, and we'd be happy to discuss that with you. But if you're here in the call today and want to put your information in the chat, I can have our website team talk with you. Otherwise, we can go ahead and you know, get you in touch with our website team to get that done for you. Okay. Okay, so we've kind of reached our general Q&A portion. So this is where we kind of open up the floor and allow everybody to ask questions. Either you can just ask them verbally or you can put questions in the chat. We'd be happy to talk through anything with you all. And actually, while we're in a pause here, I have to correct myself. I got ahead of myself on the offline refunds for online payments, and it's not quite released yet, so it's upcoming. So we probably will expect that in the next few weeks to month, I would guess, Hillary. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
It's not quite Ashley's fault. She was just trying to give me a little heart attack. For anyone who wasn't here when we started this meeting, I'm product manager here at Parting Pro. So I had to correct her, unfortunately, and say we actually haven't released quite yet the ability to do the offline refunds for online payments. However, it is coming soon. So you did get a little preview, and we'll have that functionality released in hopefully the coming weeks, and you'll get an email and notification about that. So just be on the lookout.
Yeah. And that will really help for those of you that need to refund in different methods. That's what we most hear is that, you know, our office wants us to refund via check. So how can I record that? And that will really help with that. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? And they can be as easy as how do I send a form to anything more detailed.
And if anyone wants to do any one-on-one, I know sometimes when we're in a group, people feel uncomfortable asking certain questions, or maybe they want to go through their actual cases, let us know. I can actually include a link where you guys can schedule calls directly with us, and we can go through any questions you have. You can share your screen with us, and we'd be more than happy to answer anything. So I'll go ahead and put that in the chat right now.
Okay, Andrea's put the Calendly link in the chat to schedule any calls.
And if you're also on the call because you're newer with us, or maybe you're even still in setup, because I do see some newer customers here, you can still use that link to go ahead and schedule, even if we're in the process of still building your online store and getting you set up as far as payment. You can still use that link to schedule a call and get on our calendar. Okay.
I don't know where exactly where everybody's at, but I know David, you're in Florida, and Michelle, you said you're in Michigan. But hopefully if any of you are in California, things are settling down there. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead, and if there's no questions, we can go ahead and end. But thank you for joining us. Andrea, did you have anything else to add?
No, nothing at all, but we appreciate your time. And I learned stuff on these sessions as well. So that recording offline payment refund thing is going to be really nice once that's launched, because that is something that you guys have been asking for a minute. So that'll be great when that's actually released.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and everybody take care. Bye.